Hey everyone, let me just edit some things. Okay. Oh, it's in Japanese, so I'll need to switch this to English. And yes. So for this stream, I'm gonna try to sculpt the armatures inside the, well, the casing inside the arms. So I'll try to do that. And I'll try to like sculpt a bit of ribbons at the back. So I think that'll be the main task for today. And my plan is to try to finish this sculpt. Try to finish this sculpt today, but I'm not sure if that's possible in 2 hours. So let's get going then. Okay, so the thing I want to do is like I placed a shaft on the last stream, so I'm gonna tweak this shaft a bit so it ends up looking cool. Are you gonna rig too? No, it's just sculpting. It's not for animation or something like that. So what I want to do is to apply a polygroup by normals, and then you have the top and the bottom separated, and then you just need to hide and delete, and then I'll have this part divided a couple of times, maybe with crease so it doesn't shrink. Crease, and then divide. And now I'm thinking, how should I go about this? Do you work in the gaming industry? No, I work for Pixologic. You can see here that developer streams. I'm working for Pixologic. Like I'm mainly doing marketing stuff, but I do get myself involved in a couple of like development things or like testing and stuff like that as well. So I'm currently thinking about kind of like cool shells I can make out of. Maybe this shiny material is like kind of distracting, so I'm gonna switch back to the flat material. Oh, it wasn't hidden. No, it wasn't deleted. Okay, so then material fill object. Yep, should be fine. I'm just getting the rough shapes, so I can play around with the designs. Hmm. These part of the mesh could be just like smoothed out afterwards, or like using polish or polish by features or something like that. So I don't want to just like polish or smooth to just get the round shapes, but I'm just going for the designs, going for the overall shape that I'm looking for. We need a bit more resolution, I guess. Hey, welcome, welcome. Hmm. I don't know if there should be a huge gap in the middle or not. Maybe it should. And then maybe having a huge spike or a joint like this coming out. Oh, it's in the middle, so need to pull it outside a bit more. A bit more? so maybe a bit more tight in these areas. Maybe black, or what color should be nice? Oh. I keep on switching the materials instead of the colors. Okay, should be like this. Maybe dark green? Nah, black or gray. Okay, something like this then. Then I think I can just change a bit of the designs, maybe more aggressive looking. What's the best way to make figurines and toes? So you want to make the toes flat so it stands? Is that your question? Oh, fingers. Oh. You basically make a shorter version of your like hands is the basic way to like think about it. Like for example, you have a IMM basically. These are a good example for if you're like thinking about what kind of like model you should use for the toes or the feet. And if you look at the actual like topology, it's very like the individual part is separate, but if you feel that the leg is a bit too long, you can adjust it like this, and then if you use Dynamesh, it's gonna like connect to each other. So you'd want to like avoid using Dynamesh at this point, and then try to use ZBrush as much as possible. If you want to make some specific like feet or legs or stuff like those, then you need to look at the book which covers the anatomy stuff. And usually if you have those kind of like books, they talk about what kind of like shapes of the toes it should have. Like for example, if it's like if the toe, like the points of the legs or the fingers are like this or more like this, or it really depends on like what kind of like foot you're looking for. And you need to look from the side as well, like if it's gonna be a male feet or female feet, it really depends on that as well. If you're looking for an athlete, it has a unique like kind of like look, like the arch is more stronger, these parts, and then it tries to grab more like the ground as well. Or if you're making a person who doesn't really do walking or training, it has a different kind of like feet as well. So I want to ask a question. When starting to learn ZBrush, it's best to learn with a mouse and then change to Wacom or Wacom from the start. I recommend Wacom from the start because ZBrush was designed with pen tablets in mind. So you have the left hand controlling the keyboards, and then you have the right hand handling the pen. So this was like I don't like ZBrush was made intentionally to use with pen tablets. So it's best to start with pen tablets from the get-go. And like using the mouse, you're gonna have your fingers really tired by just like tapping really rapidly. So I don't really recommend using the mouse. Like people brag about some people brag about using mouse for their works, but I don't see the benefit at all. It's like bragging to your teachers that you just used one pencil to draw your drawings, but people don't care about those kind of stuff, right? What is your best advice for beginners for digital sculpture? Beginner digital sculpture? Read books, look at references, watch other people's streams, and understand the software better. I can mess around in Photoshop with a mouse, but I just immediately grab my pen and tablet when I open ZBrush. Yeah. Like, for example, Photoshop. Some people use Photoshop with mouse, and some people use Illustrator with just mouse. But I can't really use like Painter or Sai without using pen tablets. So if you're just like tweaking sliders, then mouse is fine. But like if you want to like tweak the photos or like tweak a couple of like areas, then it's gonna need pen tablets. How many realistic sculpts should one do before trying the anime style? Depends. Like some people I know have never tried realistic sculpts before doing anime, so. But it's a good habit of like doing like photorealistic stuff to understand anatomy casually. So that's an important way to practice. But you can do anime sculpt without like photorealistic stuff. But I'd generally recommend people to like sculpt like photorealistic stuff if they can. So it really depends. You'd have a better understanding of anatomy if you do so. If you're just starting up and then like if you just want to sculpt some anime stuff casually, then yeah, why not do that? Just have fun. Like if you don't enjoy it, you're gonna throw away the opportunity really quickly. So it's better to have fun and then sculpt and then learn. So you can learn more stuff if you enjoy it, but if you don't enjoy, it's gonna be frustrating and hard to get understanding or grasp the understanding better compared to if you're having fun. Like if you have fun playing the game and then afterwards you look back on the game's like mechanics and stuff like those, you're gonna get better. But if you don't have fun with the game, it's more harder for you to get good with that game. So it's the same logic. What tablet do you recommend? I just will recommend Wacom or stuff. So if you have a cheaper price Wacom, for example, Wacom 1, I just recommend that. Like, I usually don't recommend Chinese pen tablets. Like, I had a couple of users complaining about some issues with when they tried to use it with ZBrush and stuff like that. So every stream, somehow the conversation goes to pen tablets. But yeah, I usually just recommend Wacom. When you're creating the hard surface object, are you starting by building the basic geometry from polygons, or are you starting from pre-existing objects like these spheres? Depends. Like, I just made this from a cylinder, and then I'm just cleaning up the geometry with ZBrush because it's not gonna be really like intense hard surface stuff. So I'm just like trying to make something organic and hard surface. So I just need to like clean up the topology by using ZBrush. But if you have a specific hard surface in mind, then, or if you have a topology in mind, then it's better to use manual retopology, or you can just use a polygon modeling from the get-go and then get your shape done. It really depends. Like if you are used to polygon modeling, then you can use that. Like there's no problem with using polygon models if you can get a better shape. It really depends. I got an XP pen recently, and there's nothing specific to complain about. It depends. Like, it depends. It really depends on the price point. Like, if you really get a really cheap pen and the older models, like I had a couple of issues with those pens, and like, I know people say that they don't see any difference, but there is differences in those pens. And the manufacturers are usually the ones who knows, but they don't really say it. Like if you bring out a spec sheet for a product A and product B, and then the price point is different, and then product A would be like $200, and product B would be $150, and the product B will try to say it's the same kind of quality compared to the pen A or pen B or product A, product B, but they know it's different, but they don't talk about those kind of stuff because they want to sell their product as the same quality or the same level as the product A. But if you ask the guys who are developing those stuff, they usually know the weak points of their products and why their product is cheaper than product A. Like if you have the same kind of like product, you can jack up the price to the same kind of like level or slightly lower compared to that price. But if it's like half the price, if it's like the 3/4 of the price, then honestly that's not the same level. But people tell you otherwise. Like every time I talk to a person who's like recommending those cheaper tablets, people tell you that it's not different, but it is different. So interestingly, like there was a interview with a pen tablet manufacturer talking about like the professional grade pen tablets, and then they even talked about the competitors like professional lineup, and like they even mentioned in their interview that they mentioned that there is no competition for the professional lineup to that like quality. So, and it's not their product, it's their like competitor's product. So they know they are competing against a superior product than them, and so if the manufacturer knows that they are competing against a superior product, then why the user gonna complain and like talk about like the same quality of stuff or something like that? So I don't know. I'm not in a hardware manufacturing business, so I don't know the details, but usually it's not the same quality. No. I think I'm complaining about this kind of like stuff every stream. I don't know why. Like. It's not my thing. It's not my business. It's weird. Stroke, lazy mouse, diff. Okay. Any tips for sculpting a character with fishnets or similar clothing? You can use Nanomesh. There's a couple of tips around using Nanomesh or micropolys to get the details. So if it's a repeating pattern, usually you can just use micropolys to get the fishnets or those kind of like repeated patterns on the surface. I think it was Michael Pavlovich doing some like tips on fishnets and stuff like those. Maybe using a bit of like spiral to get some like interesting shapes. By the way, if you use Alt key with spiral, it's gonna like twist in the reverse direction. So if you use it this way, it's gonna twist in a clockwise direction, and then if you press Alt, it's gonna like twist twist in the anti-clockwise direction. So you can get some like interesting shapes out of this. Yeah, basically Nanomesh. Nanomesh, micropolys, you can search those. You can, I think you can just search ZBrush fishnet, and then you get basically what the thing you want. I think it will lead to Michael Pavlovich explaining you the fishnet. Let me see. How about grouping this? Polygroup it. I think there's a good way to do this. Maybe smart transpose smart. Oh, by the way, if you're not aware of transpose smart, you're missing a lot. So if you go to transpose, and then there's like 2 other variations of transpose, and transpose cloth is what you use for bending using the cloth dynamics, and then you have transpose smart. And transpose smart will enable a different kind of like masking, like this. Usually if you use masking in a transpose, you're gonna get this kind of like this direction of masking, right? But if you use transpose smart, then it's gonna read the surface detail or the surface normal information and then try to like get the masking happening following that kind of like detail. And then if you press like control then shift, you can add these kind of like masking as you go along. This feature has been there for a while, but like sometimes people are not aware of this feature. So if I want to have a masking like this, then it's going to be much easier to just add a group and then leave out the corners like this. And then if I need to like adjust by hand painting, you can just do so like this. Let's see if I can have something interesting from this. So I just need to mark the areas, then maybe splitting the in and out. Yeah, this split, so I can just mask out this area and then maybe add some masking like this, and then surface noise. And then maybe adding some changes to the noise. Weaves. I don't want a mix of basic noise. maybe a different pattern. Wood, zigzag, Voronoi, turbulence, spiral, snakeskin, simplex, hextile. Hextile could be interesting. But maybe changing the angles. Maybe I need to open up a different polygroup. No, open up a UV. Let me see. And then opening up with UV master, polygroup. More UVs. No need for bumps. Looks fine. And then using surface noise, divide, get this. Surface noise. Noise plugs, hex, tile. No basic noise. UV. Ooh. Maybe the angle. Oh, there we go. Oh, I think I accidentally Control Z. And then I just need to add a bit more detail. Maybe 5. Yes. And then apply to mesh. Looks fine. Maybe adding a different color. If I apply mask by noise again, and then change the color for this, I think we can have these kind of like patterns. I don't know if it looks nice or not. Maybe not. Then I may need to adjust the color for these. I don't know if I should keep this kind of like bumps on the arms. Don't think it's a cool design or anything. I think it's better to like not show the skin colors inside, so it looks more like a hollowed out like armor piece. And then I think I can focus on the ribbons on the back of the head. Awesome, thanks. I was like busy for the couple of weeks. Like I haven't been able to like sculpt like this for a while, so like my sculpting skills are getting a bit rusty. Like it's like I feel it's using up my CPU powers in my brain much more than usual. Like I have a hard time like talking. I don't know why, but like it seems to be the case. I don't know, like if we should have this mask or not. Like, I think it looks better if we don't have the mask. Yeah. We can just hide it. I think I made a dump. dump folder. Oh, no, that's not a dump folder. No, dump. So basically a dump folder is like I can just like move the subtool to the bottom and then just use it as a trash. And then if I want to switch back, if I change my mind, I can just keep that subtool intact so I don't like accidentally want it back or something like that. So yep, I think it's almost finished, but I need to take a look at what kind of like render or what kind of like stuff I can add. Like, I think we can add a couple things on the surface like this. Currently, it doesn't really have a lot of details on the like armor pieces and stuff like that, so it could have those kind of patterns. And on the next English stream, like the next week, I'll try to start another brand new model from scratch. But I'm like wondering what kind of like stuff to do, so maybe I'll start some like dark elf or I didn't really make a dark skin character for a while, so I think it's better to make some. Yes, dark elves. I like that like tan color skins, like, but I didn't really get the opportunity to make one, so I think I'd like to make one. But I need to come up with some character design I can work with, and I'm not really like really good at like designing characters for like I can think about a character on the fly and then like just be done with it, but like I think it's better to like have a design and then just focus on that. Yeah, like I see a couple of like people making Nagatoro-san. I forgot to color them. I think I can confirm these details. Something like this. Maybe I want to sculpt a bit more ribbons. think I would like to add a bit more details on these areas, but usually the sculpts I'm making on stream, like I would love to spend more time like adding details and wrinkles and all the stuff I like to add, but usually like if it goes over like 20 part 20 or part 13 or like part like 40, I don't think people would like to watch those kind of like adding details to the extreme. So like I'm keeping my models a bit simple that people can watch and like just follow along how I made these kind of like shapes. But if I'm making these kind of like shapes personally, I think I would spend more time like adding more details, adding more like definitive shapes and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just polishing. Like it's not gonna like make huge differences, and like it's not gonna be interesting. So I usually keep it really simple. But like for example, like if you watch Sakaki-san's stream, like one of his work spent like 3 years making that stuff. Yeah, like you can imagine what kind of like time it takes to get a piece done for the stream itself. So like I'm not gonna spend that amount of time like sculpting things. So yeah, I'm like I think I can do 24 hours stream, but I don't know, like at the end I think I'll be like really silent, just like focusing on sculpting. I usually finish my models around like 24 hours, and like if I like sculpt continuously for like 4 hours, like my engine gets like warmed up, and like it gets a better result than my like periodic like 2 hour streams or stuff like that. So I usually prefer to have like 8 hour streams in my personal channel, but like I'm not gonna able to like spend 8 hours on my like official streams for Pixologic. So I think yeah, like I applied a different material on this part, so I need to override the materials and should be fine. Yes. Okay, let's send to Keyshot and then like try to like get a good image. Let's save the file first. Save file as Mantis 10. And then after I save the files, I don't need the dump folder, so I'm gonna delete this folder. And then I'll send the model to Keyshot, render, external render, Keyshot, BPR. It's gonna launch Keyshot. Oh, the Keyshot UI is in Japanese, so I need to switch this to like, or cancel. I need to switch this to English. I usually prefer English on the Keyshot side, but if I need to do some guides in Japanese, I'll need to switch to Japanese. So just relaunching Keyshot. I love how easy the Keyshot like UI is. Like you have these things really organized. Oops. Okay, so image, landscape. And then let's use the render in GPU. Let's use denoise. So we have a shorter amount of time to actually calculate things. And then go to lighting, environments, 3-panel straight. I usually use 3-panel straight because it's easy to control the lighting. The startup lighting is like nice, but like I prefer to use invalid image supplied to Dean. That's odd. Okay, let's not use denoise then. It's showing up in error. I think it's the recent, like, I'm using the latest release, then it may have those kind of like quirks, which is not hammered out yet. And let's use. I made some couple of like custom materials, and I think I'll be using a custom material called ZBrush PVC, which is just a tweaked version of the ZBrush clay. What it is like it's just tweaking the vertex colors and then adding a bit of surface, like changing the like specular or the reflective index a bit, so it looks more like a skin color. But since we want a bit of like cyborg kind of look, I think I'm gonna like change it to a bit more colder color like this. And then let's see. Color black, and then maybe the skin color may need to be changed. And then this part should be a bit more metal, kind of like material. Metal brushed, polished, maybe brushed. And then if I go to the metal setting, metallic paint, clear code. I think there was a setting so I can color the metal. Roughness sample colored. I think it was specifically somewhere in was it anodized? No. Silver, zinc, measured. Oh, this one. So I just need the colored to be the vertex color. So I need to load the vertex color information, textures, vertex color, and then connect it to color. So you can see it's green right now, but it's a bit more white because ZBrush is not sending the color as a linear data. So I just need to change this to contrast 2, so it sends the correct kind of like information to Keyshot, like this. So I'm just changing the colors a bit. And then let me change the lighting setting to be a bit more five color, and then ground shadows, occlusions. I usually love the look of the ground reflections, so I may want to have this. And then let me see, ground size, it's fine, ground shadows. Yeah. And then rock. I may want a rock kind of like material specifically for this. I don't know if I want a displacement. Let me see. Yeah, it's generating a black noise because of the, I think it's displacement. So if I turn this to 0, what does it do? Huh, it does nothing. So it's not displacement. I think it's the colors, UV maps. I wonder if it generates the black kind of like noise if I render this. Like, let me test the renders. Untitled is fine. It's just a test render. Options, GPU 100%, inherit from real-time view. Hey, thanks, Carlos. Oh, oh, it was definitely displacement then. Okay, so no need for displacement. I thought so. So no displacement, and then let's see what happens. Yeah, basically this. So maybe I want some metal materials on the cans. Steel. Aluminium. Aluminium brushed, polished paint. Graph, metal preset, color, and then getting the color information by texture, vertex color, connecting, and then applying color adjust, and then adjusting the color to Control 2. Oh, it's way too polished. So I'm gonna change the roughness to 0.02. A bit more rougher than 0.05. Yeah, kind of like that. And then I think I want to like change the skin colors a bit. So skin color. I have a material specifically made and like tweaked for these like occasions. It's just a skin material with a bit of like a tweak to it. So it looks more like a stylized skin, but it's not a hard material to make. It's just like using the vertical color and then adjusting the roughness and translucency in the color, and then tweaking the reflective index to like so it like works like a skin, actual skin. Node and stuff like are dark magic to me. And no, like not really hard. Like I'm just using basic stuff like collecting what kind of like information to use, like what kind of like setting to like filter that color and stuff like that. It's basically that. It's not really something complex. You can like if you're talking about like substance designer and something like those, I totally agree that like getting a spaghetti out of that, like getting a like calculation done and then tweaking the texture to a specific color or like those kind of like stuff. I get really lost with setting those up, but like setting Keyshot materials is not that hard. If you go really complex, it's gonna be really tough to handle, but yeah, should be fine. So let's see what kind of like stuff I can get out from this. Usually I prefer to use the GPU rendering because it's really fast in Keyshot. And like it does generate some noise, but usually you can just denoise the stuff. Then it's not gonna matter too much. But if you do have some like specific materials in mind, then or like specific like stuff in mind, you might want to use the CPU for those kind of like stuff. Like these GPU plus denoise methods are really good for like glass materials or like cloudy glass or plastic. But like if you want a beauty render or like the rendering stuff you use for like one still image, then I think it's better to just finalize the rendering with the CPU method. But it's gonna take time. So if you have the time, if you can just like run it overnight, then go ahead. Recommend any good render farms? Honestly, like I've been using Keyshot for a while, but like my usage is basically rendering stuff from ZBrush and getting a turntable out on Keyshot. So I like for me, like I'm not really restricted by time, and I'm usually using it only for my personal use. So if I run a GPU renderer and then get a turntable out of it, then it's not gonna take days or weeks to get those things. It's gonna just take me like two or 4 hours to get a like decent turntable rendering out of it. So I don't really use render farms that much, but if you ask other streamers, I think you can get some idea of like what kind of like stuff they would recommend. I know Keyshot does have a feature for like crowd rendering or like sending out your models to render farms, but I haven't used them before. It's a good question to ask on Keyshot forums if you have the opportunity to do so. Like if you go to the Keyshot forums, you can like see a lot of like stuff, like even like optimized setting for rendering stuff as well. Like they do some insane calculations to get their like times really effective. Like they cut down their times really effectively. color schemes, translucency. I wonder how much translucency affects the skin color showing up on the tights. Not much. Maybe I should change the refractive index a bit. Interesting. Well, 1.4 then. Roughness, specular, maybe not specular. Subsurface. I think it looks more really yellow because the skin tone applied to this model is a bit strong. Oh, thanks. No problem. Yeah, I'm trying to render it, and then on the next stream, I'm trying to make a new model out. I think I'm thinking about making a dark elf, but I'm not sure yet. Are you using some kind of like Photoshop? No, I'm using Keyshot. Keyshot is a renderer, so you can render things on the fly as you go along. Let me get a liquid. So for example, like if I assign a material, like here, it's gonna try to get that material's look accordingly. I don't want this to be transparent, so color label, liquid material color. Oh, so I need to set a new color to this one then. Then transparency. I don't want it to look too transparent, so 0.002. Oh, this looks more like a goo than 5. One 1.4. One 1.5. I don't remember the water transparency. No, the water's refractive index, but there's a huge list of stuff. Like if you look up the like ROI refractive index, and you have the list of like things like glass, like plastic, human skin, and stuff like those listed. Assassin Dark Elf. Yeah, like I was thinking about like thieves. Like for example, I like the like job, like when I was playing some MMOs, my like go-to job title was like thieves, assassins, more the AGI kind of like characters. So I would love to make those kind of like characters. Okay, so let me try to render something. Maybe just adjust a bit of camera. Maybe tweak the product render and then. Oh, I forgot about the light colors. So in Keyshot, you can adjust the colors from the HDR editor, HDRI editor, and then you can like tweak the colors to look like this, neon color, red, or stuff like that. Maybe blue would be nice. And then you can also tweak the opposite side of the color, like red. Like this. And maybe yellow in the middle. And then you can get some like rendering out of it. It's gonna take a bit of time, but it's taking way too much time. Let me see the setting. Oh, I'm using CPUs, so I just need to switch this to GPU and maybe a bit more sampling, and then render. If you don't know how much sampling you need to do, you can use the H key, and then it will show you a head-up display on the side. I'll show you later on, but like you can see the sampling rate, which is happening on the real-time screen, and then you can see what kind of like results you can get. Okay, so 71 seconds with including the loading time and stuff like that. So should be fine. And then, like, for example, if I press the H key, it's gonna show you a sampling rate over here, and then it's showing, like, if I switch to GPU, it's like picking up the sample rates like 140, and then 200, 260, 300, and then the, like, if you use Keyshot, it's gonna update the screen in real time as you go, and it's trying to like pick up the sample rate in real time. So what you see is what you get. So currently it's over 1000 samples. So if you set the sample 1024 or something like that, it's what you get in the screen. So if you render that out, you just need to set up to like 1024 is what you need. So if the result doesn't look good on the real-time screen, you can update the real-time screen and then calculate what kind of like sample rate you need. Also, you can set a area of the rendering, and then you can limit, I think it was the image, I think it was, oh, I forgot where to set the region. But there's a couple of like good videos posted on Keyshot's official page or official YouTube, so you can check those out. So basically, like, let me just in case if I want to like render something out from another angle, just spin around and then render this area. Like, before I switched to a brand new GPU, it was taking a lot more time, like four times the amount of time it takes for me. But now it's like if I optimize this, like optimize the setting or the model, it's gonna only take like 9 seconds to do so. So it's kind of like insane, like 9 seconds of rendering and then getting a like ray traced result. It's like whack. It's crazy. And then you just need to save as, and then save the BIP files. Oh, just in case if I want a clay rendering, you can just select the entire mesh, or you can just select the ZBrush category, and then you can just assign ZBrush clay to this material. So you have the entire model swap to the clay rendering or the clay material, and then you can just render this out as well. Do you sometimes do a retopology UVs texturing inside another software, or everything inside ZBrush until the rendering part? Depends on the model. Like if you're making some anime model or animation model, then if you need to like do the UVs, then go ahead and do that in another software, the preferred method you choose. I usually just make the model for 3D prints, so I usually don't need to like do a complicated UVs or a specific topology in mind. So that's my usual like personal projects. So I don't really need to go outside of ZBrush that much. But if I need to go outside of ZBrush, like I'm using 3ds Max for those kind of like stuff. And the rendering is done, so I can just go outside of Keyshot. And then let's see the results. So here's the test image I did. So you can see the displacement is going crazy. So I just removed the displacement, and then you can see the noise happening because it's just a temporary renderer. And then you can see a couple like tests I did. And then this is the current result I'm getting. Cool, right? You can also like add a different kind of like focus on different areas. So for example, this is just like focused on the general areas, but you can just like focus on the face, you can just focus on the cans, you can just focus on the rock, and then you can even animate those kind of like zooming as well. So like rendering in Keyshot is really easy. You can just like set up a couple of like materials and then just go with it. And then if you're not happy with the lighting, you can change the lighting as well. So yeah, I think I'm done with this model. So the next stream I'm gonna do with the English stream will be maybe Dark Elves, but I may come up with a different idea. The robot model, the mech suit model I'm making with the Japanese stream, that's gonna end soon as well. So I need to think about another design for Japanese streams as well. So yeah, I need to think about those kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna end my stream here. If you have any questions, it's your time to like type in the questions. I can answer those. Next stream will be a new model, as I said, and the Japanese stream will be. I'm currently fixing up those things as well, but it's gonna end as well. I think I'm gonna post this to ZBrush Central, so you guys can just follow along what kind of like journey I took during the sculpting process. Like I took a couple of like images. For example, I have the initial model like this, and then turned out like this, and then had some like armor pieces designed, and then it made a different kind of like changes, then it was posed, and then it was refined, and a couple of things changed, and done. So I'll post this like progression in the forum, so you guys can take a look. Okay, so I'll be ending my stream here, so see you guys next stream.